Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Catalyst Energies. My name is Dee. Thank you for joining me. I'm so grateful that you're here. This is the Daily Medicine Transmission. May 6, 2021. Welcome. It's Thursday here on planet Earth, at least in this time zone. And we are going to talk about some things today to reach beyond established forms. This is a sense of bridging some sort of gap, as has been evidenced by this thumbnail for today. So welcome to my subscribers. Welcome back to my subscribers, my viewers, my audience. Thank you so much for being here. You truly are the lifeblood of this channel. I so appreciate your support. You can support this channel on YouTube, BitChute, or Subscribestar as well. I do have a financial goal that's on Subscribestar in order to increase the production value of these messages and transmissions and reports. So microphone and backlight and green screen or a ring light, all of the things. So if you want to support this work through Subscribestar, you can go to the link in the description box below. And if you're new here, welcome. It's great to have you here. Thank you for stopping by. And as always, I like to remind people that if you enjoy this content, you find it inspirational, you find it helpful, any way that you interact with this content through sharing, through liking, through commenting, through subscribing, it really does actually make an impact on independent content creators like myself who have no sponsorship, to signal to the AI algorithm that this is information that is worth spreading to a larger audience. So welcome, thank you, and let's get right into it. So the moon is in Pisces still today. It's going to be in Pisces all day today. We are going to have a conjunction with Neptune. We also have Venus at fixed star Algol in the Pisces constellation, or the Pisces. Okay. Let's go back here. The Pleiadian star cluster, where Venus is at home in Taurus, in conjunction with the Pleiades now, and also in conjunction with fixed star Algol, the head of Medusa, right? And she is going to be in a trine with Pluto retrograde today. So not only are we going to be reaching beyond established forms now that Mercury is in Gemini, we've passed the Beltane midpoint here between the equinox and the solstice. The seed has cracked. The new life is now making its way up through the darkness. As we talked about yesterday, it was a real kind of a hermit, inner reflection type of energy yesterday coming into today. And Chiron is going to be making connections to the nodes exactly today. So there's a lot of karmic healing going on, a lot of potential to really use that karmic nodal axis that drives us and pulls us in towards our soul's evolution in order to really address some of these very vulnerable areas of wounding and identity, victim identity that Chiron represents. And with Venus in this trine to Pluto today, a trine, as I explained yesterday, actually, a trine is not necessarily a benefic aspect in astrology, although it can be. It really just denotes that there is a very structurally sound and foundational connection between these two aspects, that not much has to be invested. There's not a lot of tension that is created as a result. It's a very strong foundational bond. And so they get a lot of traction with each other. So with Venus in her home sign at the star of Algol in this trine to a retrograde Pluto, and it's an Earth trine, right? Taurus and Capricorn, letting go, really letting go of that aspect of ourselves, separating in some ways that aspect of ourselves and that toxicity that comes out as a beast and shows itself as a result of the trauma that we have endured in our lives. And this is not just women. This is anybody, because we all have the spectrum of feminine and masculine within our soul, in our spirit, within our personalities even. So this aspect of us, this feminine goddess mother aspect that Venus represents, the goddess of love, the goddess of what we value, who we value, the aspect that we are allows us to be sensitive to the material world. And this is very Pleiadian, right? This is very Pleiadian, this open heart chakra, this direct connection to the earth. When we, there is a point where we have to let go of that aspect of ourselves in order to move forward. And Pluto is going to make it very easy because Pluto, as we all know, the Lord of Death, and the power of our transformation just comes through and mulches everything, right? And so in Capricorn, in now retrograde, going way deeper into the matrix of our own reality and addressing what needs to be destroyed, what needs to be let go of. And Venus is going to make it very palpable. It's going to be very sensitive. It's going to be something that is in our material world, in terms of our relationships and our resources, and within us as well. And the value that we have within us, eventually we have to let go of that aspect. And Chiron in aspects to the nodes today, a sextile to the north node, a trine to the south node. Again, Chiron had to let go of the very identity that allowed him to be the healer that he was, which was his immortality. So we're going to be letting go of some aspects, but really at the end of the day, it's that aspect that we separate from the rest of ourselves that is going to allow for a reconfiguration and creating of a whole new space. And this is to reach beyond established form, is to bridge the gap in some ways. And again, as we get closer with Mercury to the Orion constellation, and considering that Mercury is in its home sign of Gemini, this is really going to start coming into play a lot more in the coming weeks. So let's look at the chart and kind of base this in some reality here. And I hope everybody's doing well, taking good care of yourselves, enjoyed Beltane for as much as it had to offer. It's interesting times that we are living in. We certainly are. There's no shortage. There's no shortage of things that are interesting right now. Okay, so we see our moon in Pisces is going to meet Neptune today. So again, how have your dreams been? How have your fantasies been? This is something that's really important to consider, to allow that space to be, right? To allow ourselves to engage on some level with those dreams, with that inspiration, with the muse, right? That inspires us artistically and also spiritually and creatively. The magic that is Pisces and the 12th house. So the moon, the personal experience of all of this that we shift through very, very quickly. The moon's transit is the fastest thing that is moving through the zodiac. So just showing how easily our emotions shift and change over time and in relation to other stimuli. Meeting Neptune today, right? We are going to really personally and intuitively, in that subconscious way, connect with Neptune that has been really challenging us to surrender a part of ourselves and to give of our vital energy to substantiate something really important, either something that is very conscious or something that is very unconscious. And I've been talking about this for since the astrology report and multiple astrology reports, because Neptune sits at this degree for a while. And so what is it that you are giving of yourself? What is it that you are giving in order to substantiate something much more in line with the collective need? What is it that you're personally surrendering? And this has a lot to do with where these aspects are in your chart, and you can have a very personalized understanding. For me, this is all second house in conjunction with my South Node, for instance. So South Node, we're talking about where we've been karmically, what we've mastered karmically, what our soul has mastered karmically, and what dynamics are used for our soul to transform in the past, something we're already comfortable with. So the moon comes and meets Neptune, which is sitting on my South Node. And so a lot of my past power of transformation, a lot of my soul's karmic work that's already happened is going to be brought right into my emotional experience today, and really challenging that. And it has been for a while, which means it's in opposition to my north node, right? The north node is where your soul is headed, where it's pulling you to learn. And so, going back and really having a very strong, very emotional, very imaginative connection to where I have been and what I have mastered in my own soul's lifetime. So that's an example of how you could use this. Now, so we're going to have that today, as well as the moon is going to, was in a sextile to the sun, right? The sun now has moved in the second half of Taurus. We've gone from substantiation of material life, to confirmation of that as well. And, we're at a point now that the Beltane aspect has happened, the seed has cracked open, and now the sun, the representation of, the fullness of who we are, the fulfillment of our own personal expression, right? The blossoming of our nature that the sun represents. We gain a certain amount of salvation through our readiness to face all of the issues as if they were only two opposed sides, right? You have to be able to address one side and the other. And part of that is going to be reaching over in some ways. And so when the moon is in a sextile to this position today of the sun, the moon in Pisces, right? It's, if we can unite ourselves, or maybe even unite those different parts of ourselves. That's the thing about Pisces, right? Everything is diffused. Everything dissolves into that, everything else. And so when we're talking about the moon, we are experiencing all of the feels, not just ours, but from different time periods, from different people, different every aspect that you could engage with that is now dissolved into one whole in the Pisces archetype, for instance, is if we can find a way to unite all of those aspects in some sort of image, right? Some sort of image that we all recognize, that displays to us that there is something here to look forward to. If we're able to do that, we can invest that energy into where the sun is, and which is really illuminating and really activating this aspect of ourselves to function as if there is only two sides. And I know that that's going to seem counterintuitive, but it's a temporary position because we have to learn to work with this duality and this Gemini aspect in a way that is going to lead us somewhere to, because when we get to the solstice, right, that's 0 degrees Cancer. And that happens every year, of course, but that is the moment of decision. And so we want to be able to make an informed and strong intellectual decision based on the ability to address the two sides of the two shorelines of this river that we're all journeying down together in terms of our healing journey. So that's with the sextile. And, at the same time, I talked about Venus in a trine to Pluto. That's happening as well. You can see that right here. And Chiron in this sextile to the north node, and let's look at it on here because you can see the south node on this one. Okay, and you can see here the trine to the south node in a sextile to the north node. So again, that trine, it really requires no participation. There's no tension here with Chiron and the south node, where we've been in Sagittarius, the alchemy, the unification, the bringing it together by dissolving everything down and creating something new. This is what alchemy represents. And we're gonna see a lot of Sag in this intuitive reading today. So Chiron and Sagittarius, or Chiron in Aries, so Aries and Sagittarius, natural fire trine with each other, the action, transformation, creation, and acting on something in both of these cases. So, Chiron, like I've talked about this many times, is about to move into the next degree. We have a lot of stuff that is actually shifting degrees today. Uranus moved into the next degree, whereas it has been in this position now, focusing all of our material resources, our own consciousness on the inner cultivation. And now once it moves into this next degree, the consciousness is now externalizing itself, wants to, sees what is possible to obtain in a material way. And so Uranus, again, is going to really challenge this, this conscious desire, and seeing what's possible, right? So it's a young couple window shopping. That is the Sabian symbol. So it's symbolizing the outward longing of the ego and the part of the ego which craves direct participation with society specifically and the material world, the objective reality. And the ego consciousness becomes aware of what society has to offer. So there's been a lot of this area of the collective awakening process being much more internalized. And now it's about to step out and see what there is there and wants to engage with it. And we're now that, like I said, reaching beyond established forms, the seed cracking open and that new life coming up through the soil, there is a strong pull. There's going to be a really strong pull now to start acting on the things that we've been cultivating internally. And with Chiron in the sextile to the north node is moved into this position. The nodes, specifically the north node, is moving into a position now where it's showing us all of the newly opened territory, right? The pioneering spirit that this degree of Gemini is going to represent. And so this Chiron sextile the north node, it's pulling us in a new direction. We are definitely getting pulled and reaching beyond established form. And Mercury is assisting in this process at 5 degrees of Gemini, because that's exactly what it represents, is that there is a pull, there's a desire to reach over and reach beyond what has been established in order to learn something, in order to balance something out. So you can see that there are quite a few things that are shifting today that are going to pull this aspect out of us and bring it up to the surface. So we have to be, we're going to rely on some ways where we've been and all of this work that we've done as we move into this new territory. Okay, so Black Moon Lilith is also now direct in Taurus, and this is the dark feminine. This is the power of our feminine, the direct connection to the earth, and the self-preservation and the instinct that can go awry if we are not conscious of this part of ourselves. It's incredibly powerful. Black Moon Lilith is really very powerful. And if we are not conscious of it, we can act out of survival and self-preservation in a way that keeps us in a trauma loop. So it's important. And this degree that Black Moon Lilith is at today was the degree that Uranus went direct at. The Sumerian woman at the well, right? The ability to reach beyond the established forms, to be able to encompass and see a new quality of being that renders the old obsolete. And it's not to say that where we've come from or the shoreline that we're standing on is in fact obsolete. But if we want to grow into something new, we're going to have to let go of the past. And this is not new. This is not a new message, but it's now going to be coming out of the internalized processing and coming out into the awareness. And people are going to have to start making some choices about how to engage with this. And this moon meeting Neptune is a really great opportunity to scan all aspects of how you feel. Like I said, the fantasies, the imagination, the creativity that is coming through, the dreams, being inspired by the muse. It's all going to come in, and it's going to show us on a very internal and deep level, emotional level, how we can substantiate those conscious ideals by giving of ourselves. So yeah, you can feel that since yesterday, there has been a shift in our awareness and our attention, and ultimately in our actions. This is where it's going to lead to. So Chiron is going to move into the next degree, and it's really going to challenge our reliance on an established sense of cosmic order, right? Because we want to control things, and that's part of having the victim savior narrative, and that's part of the Chiron wounding. And so instead of addressing the wounding of self that Chiron represents, which is basically being disowned by both of his parents as a result of the shame that he reminded them of, especially the mother, instead of addressing that to begin with, Chiron continued to bypass that by utilizing that basic identity of being immortal to heal other people. And so there is going to be a challenge here, I would say, in the coming weeks around relying on some sort of, stable cosmic order, at least in a very, I don't want to say generic sense, but in a very symbolic sense, that there is something there that we can attach to, or that we can look at and be like, oh, there is that cosmic order that is characterized out in this, this symbolic representation. And Chiron is going to pull us back down into the wounding of just like, there is no organizing force. There isn't anything there that's, you can't keep staying in the victim savior narrative if you identify that there is an apex point to all duality. And this is going to be a huge challenge. But if we can realize that there are new lands to pioneer where the North Node is pulling us, then we have an opportunity to invest that into this Chiron area and really allow ourselves to step out of that wounding and that vulnerability and realize that we ourselves are the symbol of the cosmic order. We just have to look at our own development and our own trajectory just in general. And we're still in the lunar cycle with a new moon in Aries. So don't forget that. We're still in that process right now of this whole cycle playing out within each of us, where we identify the aspects within us. We hold the keys for inner fulfillment within us. It has to start within us. It absolutely has to. And this next new moon is going to set the stage for another cycle, for an incredible cycle, because we have eclipses and we have Mercury going retrograde in Gemini in May. And so at least the first of the eclipses, which is May 26th, with the moon in Sagittarius, actually. So at the degree, very close to the degree where Mercury is today. So, come back around to this point, when we start dealing with that stuff, because you'll get some sort of mental picture or a reminder of what you were able to intellectualize or wrap your head around, essentially, around this time that is going to be very much part of the next eclipse cycle. Okay. I think I've explained the chart pretty well. So let's look at let's look here at the reading, because it's because we do every day, don't we? We look at this reading every day. Okay, guys. So better lighting today. The sun is actually out. It's not as overcast and raining. So I don't mind the humidity and the rain personally. So I'm going to check in with the stream real quick, because I want to make sure that everything is going well. Awesome. Okay. So we have some Sagittarius energy here. We have the alchemy, the art of alchemy, that is at the heart of the reading. You can see that it's facing towards the 10 of Wands as our causal factor. Oppression. Oh, oppression. Haven't we felt oppressed? We certainly have. And there's a lot of aspects within us and outside of us that are oppressing this unification energy that Sagittarius represents. It is the alchemy. It is understanding. And Sagittarius represents the belief systems that come from the truth that we discover in the Scorpio realm. And then Sagittarius is the alchemy, the practice of alchemy that allows us to synthesize everything we've learned and the truth that we've discovered into a collective belief system and a value system that encompasses not just us, but the relationships that we're in, the collective that we're part of. This is where dogma comes from, and religion and philosophy, philosophical belief systems as well. Well, technically, you wouldn't really believe in anything philosophical because philosophy requires much more of a analytical and logical mindset. Symbolic logic is part of it's a baseline of how you engage with philosophy. Anyway, I'm getting off track. The point is that we have this Sagittarian energy, but it seems to be kind of sequestered here in the past, in the causal area. Even the art of the alchemy is kind of facing this oppression moment. And we now have some things that are coming through that already came through and are now in our present energetic field, like Caught in the Ruins, which was part of our guidance system yesterday in this area. So ultimately, where we're heading towards with the Hierophant is this ability to come to learn the secrets of our universe and search for knowledge and illumination on our own terms. Okay, so let's go over this one piece at a time. All right, the 10 of Wands, oppression, Saturn and Sagittarius. So in the original Rider-Waite deck, we know that it is this individual who is carrying a huge bundle of wands and is like weighed down. Saturn is the ruler of Capricorn, which is the next sign after Sagittarius. So we have Saturn really starting to display itself and its power of structuring things, giving it form, crystallizing these aspects, as the process of the alchemy that we've engaged with is starting to create something actually real and material. Doggy, you be good. So we can be weighed down because fire is meant to be free. Fire is meant to allow for, you can't really, it's meant to be free. And if you try to suppress it in any way, it will find a way to burn. So even in an upright position, oppression, we are overloaded by the creationary force, right? With the transformational force. And it's not meant to rest. But Saturn, because we are creating something material and substantial when we get to the Capricorn archetype, it is starting to push that fire down and it can seem oppressive. This is why when we create institutions like religions and governments and corporations, they do, in fact, start to stifle the creative flow and the alchemy by its very nature of being material. And we lose access to that energy. It's very interesting. And so when we have this as the causal factor in a reversed form, this can also be excessive pressure. This can be selfish and material ends, pushing down way hard. Dogmatism, okay? I mean, dogma and the aspect of control of the religion aspect in Sagittarius, right? The role of the Pope, right? Because that's the last degree of Sagittarius is the Pope, right? Is the idea that there is some sort of material representation of that which is a creative force, bringing together and creating something new. And so even that can easily turn sideways. We all know that. We all know that the oppressive nature of all of these institutions is very real. And we've been dealing with this. Well, some people have been dealing this for a very long time. I would say humanity has been dealing with this for a very long time. And so this causal factor coming in, excessive, selfish, dogmatism, aggression, right? The man holding us down, however you want to look at it. And it's very internalized, I would say, because it's reversed. And so it's excessive. It's happening within us as well. And it's something that doesn't feel like we can have any control over. When it's reversed, this 10 is the end of a cycle. So when it's reversed, we aren't really giving ourselves the chance to come back around necessarily. So when we have this coming into the moment, and then the moment is the art of the alchemy, the Sagittarian card, which is the essence of it, the essence of putting these two things together. Harmony and motion. It's facing towards this oppression. And I feel like we have been trying to use the South Node aspect of bringing things together and creating something new of Sagittarius to deal with this oppressive force. The thing is that Sagittarius is the South Node. We've already mastered this energy collectively. This is where we are comfortable and this is the reality, though, that Sagittarius will inevitably lead to the oppression of the institutions that it creates, regardless of what kind of institutions. If you're looking at this from purely a relationship standpoint, eventually you create a family structure as a result of bringing these two aspects together and creating a new life, right? And that can seem really oppressive, but also at the same time, the paternal structure and the institution of the family, extended family in general, is also very powerful. So, but it feels to me like that we keep trying to use this energy to address this oppression and the alchemy and the bringing together. And that is the South Node. And this eclipse cycle, because the moon will be in a Sagittarius way, we keep banging our heads against the wall of trying to bring this unification aspect together. How do we bring it together? How do we unify? How do we do this alchemy? And it's just not what we've already done it, and it can provide the momentum forward. But Gemini is the North Node, which does not allow for the coagulation of these ideas into understanding. It is a mastering of the dualistic nature in and of itself. Okay. So now, where are we at energetically, as I've, talked about this? Number one, caught in the ruins. Now, we've seen this yesterday as part of our guidance, because look at this. It's coming in now to our energetic root. So as we root ourselves energetically in our subconscious, in those lower chakras, if this is the basis of our energetic power, right? This is where we're drawing our power. Not so much that we are caught and trapped, but we could very easily just get up and walk out, right? Coming to terms with the fact that we're creating our own imprisonment. And again, the oppression aspect that we feel internally, because it's reversed and really out of alignment. Oppression is always out of alignment, but you see that there is something to be said for the crystallization of that which we create through the alchemy into some sort of form. This is excessive pressure, and if we can draw our power from this place, realizing that we just have to look up and get out. That's it, right? We are creating our own prison, and it's not necessarily those people outside of us. Now, there are things that are happening that do look like they are creating oppressive situations, and they are. But we are responsible for doing something about it, because it's the past. Right? This is an old prison. It's crumbling. There's new life that's already growing. All we have to do is just get up and get out. But there's this Chiron thing about being trapped here. And so if we can take the North Node for what it is, see the new possibilities, the new lands that are opening. If we look up and we're like, oh, we can just crawl out of here. This can really lead to a very strong healing moment with Chiron, and feeling wounded and vulnerable and like a victim, right? These people feel like victims. They look at them. They're just like, oh, woe is me. I'm trapped in this prison, and realizing that all they have to do is get up. So here's where we draw our power from today, if we so choose. And then we have where our institutional power is, where our conscious awareness is. As we move up through, we access Archangel Michael. Now remember, where is the North Node? It's now within orb of fixed star Aldebaran, right? 9 to 10 degrees of Gemini. Fixed star Aldebaran, which is Archangel Michael. Success through integrity, right? The warrior of heaven, however you want to look at it. And look at Michael. He's got the flaming heart. He is a channel of divine power. He is a warrior, and he's a protector with integrity, right? He is here to lift the children, that part of ourselves that is innocent and playful and needs to be protected, and so we also, through rooting down into this ability to realize we're creating our own prison, and as we come up through this moment of really wanting to project and direct our alchemy towards this oppressive situation, as a result, our attention and we can open right up to Archangel Michael, right up to the flaming sword, right? We can open ourselves to this channel of divine power and pull it right through as well. And so then you have this one channel going down, you have another channel going up. This is how the energy circulates in the meridians as well. And so And it's also allowing us, when we realize that we are creating our own prison, when we become aware of that, we immediately open ourselves up to this archetype of Michael. And see, number 9, this is a culmination, right? A culmination of our channel of divine power. This is about not giving our power away to anybody else, even those who appear to oppress us in some way. They don't have power over our energetic channel, right? They don't have power over our spirit and our soul. And coming to terms with that allows us to connect directly to this energy right here. Wow. So what to expect here with all of this, the effect of our cause and effect relationship. The Hierophant, this is number 5. This is Taurus, okay? This is Taurus. Look at this individual. This is the high priest, okay? Surrounded by all of these masks of the different aspects of there's a bird, there's a person, there's this, I don't know what this is. And there's the bull, and you see the bull also completely behind and surrounding. You got these 2 elephants here that also represent this very really substantial, very grounded, earth-based energy. Ganesh can be connected here to this symbolism, right? The remover of obstacles. And you see here that there is this feminine aspect. She's shining the light, and it's creating the pentacle in front. He's got the three rings. There's so much sacred geometry here that's so balanced. There's so much rootedness. There is so much substantial, determined, very plugged in energy. And so the Hierophant is the representation in physical form, the high priest, okay? And it represents the sun in Sagittarius, which is very interesting, right? The teacher. And the intellectual tradition, the religious and intellectual tradition, because it's the expression of this part of ourselves in form. But it is Taurus, just like the Buddha, Siddhartha, was said to have been born as a Taurus, right? This is the material reality that is the expression of the divine. It's also Jupiter in Pisces, which is going to be happening very soon. Jupiter is going to move into Pisces, which is in its rulership, its co-rulership in Pisces. So this is also Jupiter in Pisces, this leadership of this religious and very spiritual nature. So religious and intellectual knowledge, the search for knowledge and illumination, the study of dogma instead of simply accepting it. Ooh, that's a good one, because with Sagittarius, the synthesis and understanding of ideas that creates the container of religion, for instance, people just accept it rather than doing this work to come to that conclusion on their own. So this is really leading us all to a place where we're going to be searching for our own illumination, our own knowledge, studying the dogma of studying the understanding of the alchemy, studying the alchemy itself, instead of simply accepting it, and finding very deep fulfillment when we can trust our own gut. Right? This is really about trusting our gut. Again, Taurus is fixed earth. And Venus here too. She feels it all. And so trusting the gut, and especially the fact that she's in that trine to Pluto today, that retrograde Pluto at fixed star Algol. This has been a theme that keeps coming up because Pluto keeps sitting at 26 to 27 degrees Capricorn. So anything that comes across this point in Taurus is going to trine Pluto. And so we are really, really facing very directly this toxic part of ourselves that needs to be released and let go of in order to really address the much deeper monster, which is the Kraken under the surface of the ocean. We'll get to that some other time. So this is about deep fulfillment because of trusting our gut, trusting our ability to find the truth, the search for the truth, and trusting our instincts. This is where this leads to. But a lot of it is realizing that we are responsible for releasing ourselves from our own prison and not necessarily just accepting the dogma of what has been in order to attempt to release ourselves from the oppression of what we have created ourselves. That's the thing. We've created this situation ourselves, and now we have to do something about it, which is just realizing that for as much as we've created it, we can uncreate it, right? We can just step out of our own prison, our own feeling of oppression, and then allow ourselves to search for the hidden truth and to trust our gut and really study the collective value systems on our own. And we're going to see here that the guidance here is so substantial for this process. And reaching beyond established form is a big part of this, All right. So the guidance here and the support, we got the scribe. So number 12, right? The end of the cycle. Number 12, the scribe. These individuals were the most educated because they wrote everything down, from philosophy to literature to art, and history to architecture to religious doctrine. All of it is being written down and recorded. So when it's reversed like this does really signal to us that we have more work to do. We have more information to gather. And how do you gather information other than reaching beyond your established forms, right? The reach across the divide, maybe even take that bridge, right? We do need to take in more information. We're not done research. Oh, not by a long shot. Oh, this Gemini energy is all about this. Okay. And then on top of that, we have literally, as I'm going to put it here, is the walrus. Remain vigilant about the current situation. Pay attention, right? The scribe is saying that we need to pay attention. We need to pay attention to information, record more information, gather more information, go deeper into the subjects because we're not going deep enough. And we do need to stay vigilant and pay attention. Look at these two tusks. He has two tusks, just like the two of Gemini. Pay attention. Let the signs, the synchronicities, the things that you discover in your search for knowledge and truth, let them help you make decisions and dictate your choices, not what is being presented to you as truth necessarily. We have to come to these conclusions on our own. So when it comes to having access to Michael, so this comes out a lot. The MEERKAT, get support from a trusted group of like-minded friends. Well, I also, considering that Archangel Michael is part of this scenario, it seems to me that when you connect to this power, it's also important that you are asking for this support from your guidance team, right? Your spiritual guidance team, from God, whatever, whatever you identify as your support network, either physically or spiritually. It's important that you're asking. And that's the thing about Michael. He is a warrior. And he is uplifting these children. And so we can ask for support and allow ourselves to be innocent, right? Those loving elementals. Remember the Three of Roses. We want to be open to the unseen forces, right? That's where Mars had been in Cancer. It has now moved on to a different degree, as we talked about yesterday, where Mars has this opportunity to really look for those who exemplify the status and the power and the nature that Mars wants to embody as well. So again, maybe this here is looking towards this, right? Archangel Michael is kind of the representation of the heavenly warrior and defender. And so looking for and asking for support from those who exemplify this is going to be something that we can do. Also, with the Two of Forces, it's reminding us that all we have to do is root ourselves to the earth, literally, and we get everything we need, right? The willow is firm and foundational, but also flexible. It has sunshine, it has water, it has the roots embedded firmly in the earth, and can move with the wind and be flexible, but also is able to draw on our spirituality with the water. The sunshine is endless, and so it's able to get all of the, all of the energy it needs for photosynthesis. And we have everything we need. We can just root into the natural area of our life, right? Which is the Taurus area, the second house, and get everything that we need. And it will give us the ability to feel powerful, feel secure, and to stand firm in who we are. That's another thing too, is standing firm in who we are. And then we can embody in some ways this Archangel Michael energy and access this channel of divine power. And when we do that, then like I said, we come back here and we then become the Hierophant, right? We become that which represents the hidden truth and the deep fulfillment that comes from our search for knowledge and illumination, not other people's knowledge and illumination. It's not to say that people don't have incredible information to give us. They do. And that's part of the Gemini archetype as well, especially with Mercury here, is the ability to engage with all of these ideas. And the scribe is making it very clear, and in this reverse position, that we need more information. We need to gather more information. But when we do this and we connect to this channel of divine power that Michael represents, it's going to lead us to a place where we really start studying very deeply for ourselves, because this is the only way, right? It's not going to come outside of us. It's not going to come from a savior or any representation of our collective value system while we sit back and cheer it on. It comes directly from within, because what you see outside of yourself is a reflection of what is going on inside. And collectively, this is the work that we need to do. And so there's more information to gather. Lots more. Okay? The scribe is saying that there's a lot more things we need to take into consideration and record and utilize that information as a way to, stay vigilant and have those types of synchronicities with the information be what dictates our actions, rather than trying to utilize somebody else's value system in order to deal with an oppression that really all we have to do is just crawl out of on our own, and then we have all the power that we need. So yeah, I think that's it, guys. Yep, that's the transmission for today. I cannot believe there was no barking. They are very calm, the dogs. Their humans are coming back today, so they probably can tell and they can feel it. So, because animals are like that, if you have pets and you've ever gone away and anybody's ever reported to you that, they knew you were coming back hours or whatever, it happens all the time. So animals this is why I use them in these transmissions, these cards, because they are our siblings and they are the way that Source Creator is able to communicate with us in some ways, because they represent a purity that humans don't have anymore because of our Aquarian nature, right? Is the opening of that third eye and the illumination that came. Oh man, we could talk about that forever, about the illumination and what is true light, what is false light. Oh man. But the whole point here is that we are embarking on territory now where we figure it out for ourselves, that we do the search for ourselves and not just take things at face value. And believe me, they will flip the script. It doesn't matter. They will flip the script in an instant just to keep people in opposition to each other. So again, remember that if you are engaging in information and becoming emotionally involved with it in terms of certain things, like, I don't know, maybe a certain medical intervention that is now, people are getting really worried that even being in contact with other people that have had this medical intervention is not safe. I would really, really, really reconsider if you are getting caught in that narrative of like, I can't even be around these people because it's dangerous. They will use that. That is intentional, right? I'm not saying that there's no truth to it or there's no scientific background, but we have yet to see if that is the case. And so the fact that this is getting, brought into the public awareness on some level is, I find that very suspect. That's just my opinion. But I would say that really analyze and be very willing to consider anything that pits you against another group of people intentionally, in a way that's like, we have to stay away from them. They may need to be, quarantined. This is something that is, again, everything should be put up to the scrutiny of our own investigation, okay? And that is also part of realizing that we are caught in the ruins of something that is crumbling, and all we need to do is just take ourselves out of it. If we want, that's all we have to do, is just take ourselves out of it. So what's best to how to do that. And that's, and that's where I can assist you. And so if you're interested in a reading or energetic support through Reiki or shamanic energy work, you can go to my website. It's in the description box below. You can also reach out on Facebook and on Telegram, just to stay in contact through social media, of course. And yeah, I think that's it, guys. Thank you so much for being here. I truly appreciate each and every one of you. And thanks for being a subscriber. Thanks for being part of this process. I truly appreciate it. And I love you guys. I will see you tomorrow on Friday's Daily. And we'll also get some astrology as we are coming closer and closer to our next new moon. Take care and enjoy your day. Bye.